Yeah, Brian raises a great question there, Amos. What's going on with your wall?
Yeah. I honestly don't follow. Like I said, I don't follow Trump as much as I thought. I mean, he's just good for the memes. He's good for the funny stories, the crazy comments he makes. It's just entertaining. The wall.
Yes.
If it comes, it comes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I mean, I would say for him politically, it would be a win for him if he gets the wall built before the end of his second term.
I mean, he did get some funding for the wall, if I'm not mistaken.
He's got something going for it, but I mean, the now that he's moving it, I mean, we're in 2019 right now. Coming to the end of it pretty soon.
Yeah. By next year, February, he's in full campaign mode, so he's not going to get much done.
Yeah, and so you got your Ann Coulter that I remember early on. She was doing the whole, day this of the Trump presidency, amount of wall built, 0. More updates tomorrow.
Yeah.
So she's making a good point, but I think, realistically, if he gets it done by the end of his second term, that's a win for him.
I agree. As much as I think the wall is a needed incentive, he's actually had another win in the Supreme Court, which was interesting. And again, I'm not really following it, but this did cross my feed, where the Supreme Court has removed the criteria for asylum seekers who have passed through other peaceful countries to try and get to the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So, you have Africans flying to Brazil and then making the trail up to the US border and then screaming, "We want asylum." And basically they're saying you had to pass through Brazil, Panama, Colombia, Ecuador, Mexico, all the way up from South America. Many of these countries have offered you asylum and jobs. Like Mexico is saying, yeah, we'll take them. We'll take the workers. We'll give them jobs. And they flat out refused. Why is America suddenly on the hook for these people? And the Supreme Court actually upheld it and be like, no. As an asylum seeker has to be coming from a place where they're in immediate permanent danger, and they claim asylum in the first free country that they land in, not this chainmail nonsense that's going on. So you're not going to hear much about that, but that's actually a pretty big win. That cuts out a lot of these caravans and stuff like that from getting asylum.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is this whole immigrant thing is so weird too. Just people trying to get there's the failure in logic when the left tries to say, we're this racist, intolerant country that, hates immigrants, when, the distinction is, no, we just don't like when they illegally come in here. Legal immigrants, fine, do your thing. Illegal immigrants, no. And then it's like, but on the other hand, if America was such a horrible place in the world,
why are all these people coming here?
Why are people even, just skipping all these other countries that objectively, have their problems too, that are just to get here? Well, because of the opportunities, because of how,
Yeah.
And so there's, every time we talk about this, it's just, there's way too many nuances to the issue. And you're not going to get down to just the basic, America's good or bad, or the, wall bad, immigrants good, human trafficking, without taking into account human trafficking, drug trafficking. Was it like 2/3 of all women that cross that border illegally are raped?
Yeah. On the way. Yes, true. Some very young girls. But I heard that I think in California now they're actually having an outbreak of leprosy, because again a lot of the illegal immigrants have, they don't have access to the medical care, they're not immunized, all these other types of things. I don't know if that's true. I think I read that somewhere, but I could say that in the UK we have that problem here. Like we don't have the numbers of the US, but we are a small island, and I think we let in like 500,000 people a year.
Oh jeez.
So that's it's pretty substantial. And a lot of them coming from third world countries, and it's nationalized healthcare, and you got to vaccinate and treat all of these people coming into the country. And it is a real strain. And we've had rise of some very, medieval diseases coming into the UK that, should have been sorted. But yeah, that's what's going on.
Yeah, you can't help but think at times like you just want to like throw down build a wall. Like
build a wall.
All the diseases and stuff. It's like, yeah.
I mean, it is a risk. It is a risk. And even the thing with in the US, at least, if you want to claim asylum, you have to go to a registered port of entry. You can't show up at the border and claim asylum. You have to go to either through a port or an airport or whatever the case is. That is also a criteria for claiming asylum in the US. So I have a friend who left Trinidad and Tobago and he came here. He actually has like scars on his face where somebody poured acid on his face in Trinidad. So he was, stuff like that. So that was kind of, I guess, the grounds on which he claimed asylum. Basically, he paid for his life. And he flew up on a ticket. He didn't have a visa. I think he had his passport. That was about it. And he claimed asylum when he got here. And to the best of my knowledge, he's still here. I think they gave him like a permanent residency card or whatever the case is. And I think he got married. I think he's about to have a kid. But yeah, that if you're going to do this asylum thing, that's the way you have to do it. You have to do it legally by the book. And he kind of had grounds, as I said, his life in Trinidad. I don't know if he was a threat, but it wasn't a good life. He'd been attacked with the acid and all this other kind of stuff.
Right.
But
I wonder if there are any Americans that have tried to claim asylum elsewhere.
Oh, people give up their American citizenship all the time.
But I mean, to claim asylum in other countries, it's like, oh, what are you doing here? I want to claim asylum because I fear for my life in America.
I know of one woman. Oh boy! I don't
renouncing
know well.
citizenship is one thing, but I mean, claiming asylum in another country.
Yeah, I know one woman. I don't know if she claimed asylum. I think she moved back to. Well, she was from Trinidad, lived in New York. And when all of the, the police shootings and stuff like that was going on, I mean, she was so paranoid, she packed up her son and moved back to Trinidad and Tobago. And she basically claimed that, tried to, I don't know if she had citizenship or not, but she did it for fear that her black son was going to get shot from the US. And I believe that was part of her request, either to renew a citizenship or asylum. I can't remember which one, to be honest. And I had a conversation with her very briefly, but she's infected with the brain syphilis, and she thinks the police are like gunning down black men in the United States. I said, your son has a greater chance of getting shot in Trinidad and Tobago than in New York, right? And that's a statistical fact. You're right. People are, it's a fucking war zone down there a little bit. But now, leftist progressive brain syphilis, she swears, FEMA camps are going to come and take her away in the night in the US. That's the level of hysteria.
Wait, the FEMA camps aren't coming to get me? What?
I mean, I would love for somebody to explain the FEMA camp thing to me, how they're going to round up all these people and put them into these FEMA camps. To what ends? Like, you're going to imprison half the population to do what? Like, what does that do? What rich and powerful person benefits by locking up their customers?
You better hope that half the population is the one without the guns.
But yeah, I don't understand where these theories come from. Like, I had a conversation with, again, a mutual friend of ours from Northern Ireland. And at one point, he kind of mentioned that to me. He's like, oh, when they come and they round up the people and whatever, and they enslave the humanity. I was like, for what? Why would they want to enslave humanity? Like, if they enslaved every person out here, what do you think will happen to the economy? What do you think will happen to their wealth? You've enslaved your customers. Who's going to do anything? Like, it doesn't make sense. You destroy civilization if you do that. Who's going to do that? And even he's kind of like, yeah, when you think about it, it's really stupid.
I think we'll just say a certain a preacher that you and I attended. You were on a certain council with him at one point.
Ah, okay.
He had a school.
Yes, sure. I know who you're talking about.
Not the guy we both work with, but
No,
you spoke with this
yeah,
guy. Anyways, when he talked about like there was like a video he did something about conspiracies, like secret societies and like global conspiracies and stuff like the Illuminati and whatnot. Like he was
right.
trying to explain it from like a theological point, but also he just said logically, like if these people like what if these people are predominantly like the rich and powerful, what would be the benefit of the rich and powerful for all these like end goals that apparently these secret societies have,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
if it's supposed to benefit them? So excuse me, with all the different, like, you look at all these crazy things people think like the Illuminati or secret societies are going to do and all this, it's like, how would that really affect, like how would that really benefit them?
Correct.